Alrighty, y'all. This weekend I had several people come by my booth. We were talking about different flowers that are blooming right now, plants. We also talked about like some mushrooms and stuff. So while I was gathering my mushrooms, because I came down here to my mushroom patch, the humidity, we had enough moisture. Now the humidity has caused them to fruit. I'm going to show you the chanterelles that I got. And then I'm also going to show you while I'm down here what a puffball looks like. Both chanterelles and puffballs are edible. I can personally say I've never eaten a puffball. I just know they're edible. I've eaten the chanterelles. I make beer out of them, that kind of thing. I love the chanterelles. They're a great seller at market. I've just, for whatever reason, I can't really explain why I've never eaten a puffball. So I couldn't tell you what the taste is or even how to cook one up. I'd have to look that up, but I'd know what they are. So let me show you, get this turned around here and show you my chanterelles. All right, y'all. As you can see, there's several chanterelles right through here. And most of the time down here, at least in my area, when you find this different type of moss growing, like you see the moss down there in between it, and there's normally when you find areas like this is where you'll find your chanterelles. But you'll also find these puffballs. Now, if you take a puffball, let me get him out. If you take a puffball out, come on, you'll see that sometimes they're not perfectly round. A lot of times when they're fully formed, they'll be round. Sometimes they get this thing on it. And I don't know why they get round sometimes and why other times they kind of get this little kind of football type shape to them. I don't know enough about them. I know what they are. I know how to tell what they are. If you want me to, I'll get this one cut open here in a minute. I'm going to collect these few chanterelles that are here in front of me, and we'll get over there and I'll actually show you how you can tell a chanterelle. They got a couple of properties that if you follow them rules, you will always have chanterelles. Alrighty, let me show y'all an almost foolproof way of knowing you got chanterelles, okay? First off, if you notice, very few of these have got another one attached to it. They're normally solitary like this. Sometimes you'll get a couple that'll grow together. And I have there's several varieties of chanterelles. We do have what's called an Appalachian chanterelle here. It, for some reason, around the areas that I harvest it from, will clump up. Don't know why. But for the most part, they're going to be solitary. Another thing is if you try to break it, it won't break. But if you pull it apart, see how that pulled apart like string cheese and looks like string cheese? Then you know you got a chanterelle. And if you smell it and it has an apricot-y type smell, that's another way. Also, they have what's called false gills. If you notice, there's not truly gills. There's ridges, but it's not true gills. So, and they go all the way out to the edge, okay? I'm trying to get it to where to. All right. So that's another way. That's how you know you got chanterelles. There's even a cinnabar chanterelle that looks like a jack-lantern of the woods, a jack of the woods. But jack of the woods will actually glow at night. If you were to let them sit in the sun, cover them up and put your eye up there, they have a glow. They have a phosphorescence light glow to them at nighttime. Doesn't last very long, but they do have a glow. But we do have what's called a cinnabar chanterelle that's got that real, see how these are kind of like a dull orange color? I really don't know how to explain it. It's just a dull orange. Cinnabar chanterelles and jack of the woods will be like a bright, vibrant orange. More so than a persimmon, more so than hunter's orange. It's just, if you ever see them, you'll know what I'm talking about. So, now we'll take this right here, this puffball, and let me take my knife and I'll show you what a puffball looks like inside, okay? When you cut a puffball, okay, they're gonna be fleshy, meaty inside, okay? I might actually try to cook these two little ones up, if I cook some of these up, just so I know what they taste. Because like I said, I've never eaten one. Just, I don't know why I haven't. I've seen a bunch of them. There's other places in the United States where puffballs will get big. Maybe even around here, some people have seen some puffballs that got really big. Most of the puffballs I see, the biggest they'll get is smaller than a golf ball. So for me, they just wasn't a reason for me to be collecting them, eating them, because then you'd have to collect a whole bunch of them. And to me, that's wasting time. My time's precious. I have to get what I can get. So with that being said, that's your rundown on your chanterelle mushrooms. And we're going to be looking at some other plants too as well. So y'all come along with us, all right? All righty, y'all. I came by my ditch and realized that my daylilies are out in full bloom. Believe it or not, these old daylilies like this, they're edible. They got a great taste to them. You can fry them up. I take them and make them into jellies. But that's another thing that's coming up right now that is edible that y'all ought to think about when you're trying to collect things, all right? These blooms only last for a day, so you're really not hurting it by taking the blooms at the end of the day. All righty, y'all know me. While I'm out doing my foraging, I'm always looking for extra stuff. Let me turn this around and show you what I'm talking about. That, people, is broadleaf plantain. And if y'all come to my thing and see some of the plantain that that's plantain. So that is not plantain up there. That is. You can tell plantain because of the deep, large plantain. You can tell it comes from a central part. Leaves branch out, and you see these deep veins, and they normally have 7 veins or so. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So on the broadleaf, that is. There's elephant's foot around here. That's it. Notice how it's got a purple look to the veins, and notice the veins go all the way down the middle. Notice all these veins here come from the beginning of the stem, where these all branch off from the main vein right down the middle. But as I always say, when you're out, don't harvest more than 50%, but don't pass up an opportunity to get plants that you can use like this here. I can use this for medicine, and so I'm going to harvest some of this. Alrighty. Sorry I had to turn my head backwards because I almost lost it driving down the road. I'm going to show you the other type of plantain that we have. We have 3 types here in Mississippi that grow pretty prolific. One's a dwarf. Really no sense in showing you it. It's so small that there's no way. You'd have to get loads and loads up for medicinal purposes. If you noticed in the last part of this when I was showing you the broadleaf, you noticed it was back in the woods. Normally they're right at the edge of a tree line, or they're just right inside a wood line. They really like a little bit more shade. This that I'm fixing to show you is called the narrow leaf or English plantain. It likes wide open fields. It's the reason it does really good in like a garden if you'd want to grow this at home. Let me turn you around and show you some variations with it, all right? Alrighty. First thing to notice is once it's flowered, you notice that there's these little flowerets on the top of this stem. That's how you can tell it once it's gone to seed. But if you look down here, just like its broadleaf cousin, all the veins run from the beginning of the leaf all the way out to the end. There's 7 on that as well. But you see there's plantain here, 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 underneath my thing. Okay, that's how prolific it is. Just like the other one that I just showed you, it has 7 veins most of the time that run from the beginning of the leaf all the way out to the tip. This stuff here is great. This is what I make most of my medicine from, is this English plantain. I still make it from the broadleaf. I'm just saying where I gather my wild stuff at, it's easier to gather the plantain, the narrow leaf, because it's just more prolific and does better. And yes, if you hear, I'm out here on the side of the highway right now. I know when they spray and when they don't spray. I know they haven't got to this yet, so I'm actually going to harvest a lot of this plantain right here because we're getting to that time they're fixing to mow, and when they mow, they spray. So I need to harvest it now so I don't have any pesticides or anything on it. But while I'm here, here's another flower that a young lady was asking me about yesterday, and that is Queen Anne's lace, or it's also a wild carrot in this part of the world as well too. Okay, let me turn this around and show you what it looks like. All right. Alrighty, if you look at the Queen Anne's lace, you see how it does like an umbrella. See how it looks like an umbrella? Okay, and if you look right in the middle, you see that dark purple spot? Dark purple spot. Sorry, the sun is kind of right in a way where it's kind of hindering me today. But see that dark purple spot? Dark purple spot. Also, before I leave, see these leaves? I don't know if you can see them or not. See the leaf? It's kind of hard to get this to focus. But you see that it doesn't look like a fern. This is Queen Anne's lace or wild carrot. Before it flowers, if you were to know where this was at, came out here, dug it up, you'd have a little bit tuber on the bottom of it, and it is a wild carrot, okay? I've never eaten it. I don't even know if it's edible because I don't even look at it, to be quite honest with you, because there is medicines you can make with this and teas. However, one of the things that it was used for back in medieval times and late or early Victorian times was as a birth control. I'll just put it that way. It make a tea out of it, and the young ladies will abort the fetus. There's no other really way to explain it. So, but that is Queen Anne's lace. I will show you yarrow and elderberry, because that was the three we were talking about, was the elderberry, the Queen Anne's lace, and the yarrow. And I was like, they look similar, but they're not. They're actually totally different. So that's the reason I'm doing this video for her. Hey, while we're here, let me just walk across here real quick and show you another medicinal herb. And it's also good for dyeing, in this dyeing wool or any kind of fabric. And that is black-eyed Susans. You see them all over the place. There's some over there too. You see them all over the place. They're medicinal as well. I'm not here to collect that today. I'm going to collect my plantain and then get across the road here and show you elderberry. And then we're going to have to go back to the house and look for the yarrow. Alrighty, our next one here is going to be elderberry. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you the difference. Alrighty, y'all. You can see it's an umbrella, but see how it's clumped close together. Notice how the flowers are a lot smaller. These are open down here. Notice how they're a lot smaller. Okay, and notice it's on a small bush. Okay, that's another telltale sign. Here's the leaves on the bush. Okay, so that is elderberry. Now, if you don't pick the flowers, it will produce berries in the fall. And the berries you can make into a syrup and use for cold remedies and stuff. I personally don't do that. Let me back up. I have elderberry that I do that with. I have elderberry that I just harvest flowers off of because I need the flowers to make jellies. I also need the flowers to dry to use in teas and that kind of stuff. So I actually use both the early summer and then the late fall parts of the plant, and I have different ones. I couldn't collect all the plantain out here I wanted to, if I wanted to is what I should say, for a simple fact, it's everywhere. That's the reason why I try to tell people, keep a watch on where you're at, and Mother Nature provides for you. I'm in the right of way of the highway, and that's the reason I'm up here before they start spraying, so I can collect what I need to. I'll probably come back in a day or two, but I got more than enough to make several batches of infused oil for my salves. So excuse the hair, riding down the road does that to it. Alrighty, y'all, another plant while you're out running around that is very good is ox-eyed daisy. If you notice the dome of the yellow middle of the flower with the white like it is, if you notice, it kind of really looks like chamomile. Well, that's because it's in the same family, okay? But if you look down here at the leaves, they have a very unique leaf structure and look. Okay? Notice how they're kind of got serrations on it, but the serrations aren't very deep. Okay? With that being said, that's even before it flowers, it's very easy to recognize because of the leaf pattern on it and the stem and everything else. So it's just one of those that real easy plant to identify, real easy plant to know. very, very hardy here in North Mississippi. It grows in the ditches and stuff. I'm out here collecting some actual plants. I'm not going to collect the leaves nor the flowers right now. I'm going to collect the plants because I want some of them to grow in my garden. We had a bad freeze a couple years back and I lost a lot of my stuff. So I'm trying to slowly but surely forage. Once again, I'm right here in the power line on the side of the road. I'm not in anybody's ditch. I'm not on anybody's property. I'm actually inside the power line. Luckily they quit spraying back here about 40 foot from me, or this would have been sprayed and dead and we'd have lost this. So I'm trying to get some of this out of here. Right here, it's right on the edge of the road. So I'm gonna get it before the county comes through here and mows it all down. Now, once again, if the county mows this down, it grows from the root, from the tuber. It will come back next year. That's one reason these plants, you see them in the side of the road all the time, because once they're mowed down, they're fine. They'll grow right back. But I'm gonna try to transplant some of these. I'm not gonna get them all. I'm gonna get a few to transplant and take back to the house. Alrighty, y'all. This is yarrow. Now, it's got the little bitty flowers, very similar to the other two that I showed you, but notice how they're in these little bitty small clusters. They're not really in a big tight cluster like the Queen Anne's lace. And if you turn them on their side, they really don't have an umbrella to them. The biggest factor that you can tell that this is yarrow, look at the leaves down here at the bottom of it. Look at them. They're very fern-like, very frilly, very fine. And you see how tall this is. This is about, well, it's up past my knee. So about 30 inches tall, okay? This grows close to the ground. The bottom, before it grows a stalk for reproduction with the flowers, the fern leaves is what you'll see down here on the bottom. And then as it starts to flower out, this is what you'll have. This entire plant is good to use. Now here's another little bitty white flower, has a yellow center with white, but notice how the actual petals are very, very fine. Notice how small the actual, that's my finger, so you can see the size. This is fleabane. So it's not identical to chamomile or to the oxeye daisies that we just collected. And yes, the wind's causing a problem out here today. So but y'all, I hope this helps y'all out. That's a few the different identifying factors on several of these flowers that I was talking to the young lady about this weekend and at market. And so I hope this helps her or anybody else that needs it. If you have a question, put it in the comments down below. I answer everything. All right. Depending on how busy I am, depends on how quickly I can get to it. So don't give up on me. And sometimes for whatever reason they get lost. I found comments about 3 months ago that were from like a year ago. So didn't avoid y'all for whatever reason, didn't show them to me. They popped back in there when they did. I answered them. So y'all, as always, have a blessed day. Be safe.